Hi there everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Caddx GT2. This is Caddx's updated 2-watt video transmitter for the Walksnail avatar system, and we're going to be taking a look at the physical construction, comparing it back to the Caddx GT and seeing what upgrades they've brought to the mechanical build. And we're also going to be testing a very specific and very bold marketing claim that Caddx have made with this new VTX, which is that it's 30% more efficient. It's a lot to cover in one video, so let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right into it. If at any point during this video you'd like to pick up the new GT2 for yourself, or you'd like to access all of the data from my VTX power output testing, I'll put links down in the video description. Please do check those out. So here we have the Avatar GT2 kit, and if I open the box, the first thing we see is the QC pass certificate, which means that all of the testing that I'm going to do on this unit is definitely representative. We have 2 antennas, long barred pole style antennas, and these have right-angled MMCX connectors on the end. We get 2 of those. There's a little bag of mounting hardware, some washers and little screws, and we have cables. These look like 6-pin JST SH 1.0 cables. If I put the GT2 next to the original GT, you can see that the GT2 is ever so slightly larger. It's slightly longer than the original GT by a couple of millimeters, but it's the same width and it's the same height. The camera module, as far as I can tell, is exactly the same and uses exactly the same sensor. So we should expect equivalent image quality with the GT2 compared to the original GT. The fan on the GT2 is significantly bigger, and you can see that it pushes air out through little aluminium fins. So the cooling on the GT2 should be better than on the original GT. Again, on this side, we have very similar layout. So we've got the bind button and the SD card slot next to a little LED which blinks green or red to tell you what the VTX is doing. On the other side though, there are a couple of differences. The USB-C is so that you can access the contents of the SD card without having to take it out of the VTX. You can see if I lift this up that we have 2 more UART pins in this 6-pin JST SH than we got in the 4-pin JST SH with the GT-V1. These extra 2 UART pins are to control a Caddx gimbal like this GM1, and that allows you to control the gimbal with a head tracker in your goggles over the avatar connection without needing to use a flight controller or anything like that. If we look at the back of the GT2, you can see we now have 2 MMCX connectors rather than the 2 covered UFL connectors we got on the GT-V1. And for me, this is a good step forward because MMCX connectors are more robust, more reliable, and easier to use with fingers than these shrouded UFL connectors where you have to kind of unscrew the cover before you can take them apart. Now that we've looked at the GT2 on the bench and seen some meaningful design improvements, it's time to take a look at the VTX output power test results. This chart shows the RF output power of the GT2 across all of its different channels and power settings. There is a lot of data on this chart, so I'm going to take you through it. On the x-axis, we have the frequency. So these are all the different channels that you can set the VTX to. And you can see that you have frequencies from just above 5.65 gigahertz all the way up to just over 5.9 gigahertz. On the y-axis, we have the total conducted output power. That's the sum of the conducted output power for both antennas 1 and 2. We just add them together. And on the top, you can see we have all of the different VTX power settings. Now you'll notice that the top setting is 2000 milliwatts, but the total conducted output power is just about 1000 milliwatts. So what's going on there? Total conducted output power is the milliwatts of electrical power sent down the antenna cable, but it doesn't include the antenna gain. And Caddx or Walksnail ship these VTXs with antennas with 3 dB of antenna gain. They have a slightly squished radiating pattern. That means that the effective isotropic radiated power is twice the conducted output power because you have 3 dB of antenna gain added on top. If we compare the GT2 against the GT1, you can see that they have pretty similar output powers on all settings. And I would say that the variation here could just be within manufacturing tolerances between different VTXs. What I did notice is that the GT had some variation in output power with frequency. So the output power would vary depending on which channel you had it set to. And that variation was quite large at 25 milliwatts and 200 milliwatt power settings. That variation seems to be completely gone with the GT2. We have very, very good tuning of the output power at 25 and 200 milliwatts and a very even power output across frequency. I did notice that there is a slightly lower total conducted output power for the GT2 compared to the GT, but the difference is very small and it wouldn't be noticeable in day-to-day use. And it could also just be variation unit to unit, because obviously I've only tested one sample of each of these VTXs. So this amount of variation is totally expected with RF devices. See that the new GT2 has essentially the same total conducted output power as the original GT, to within sensible manufacturing tolerances. And this puts us in a great position to test the big, bold claim of a 30% improvement in efficiency with this new design. To do that, we're going to look at the total consumed electrical energy during a 1-minute test. As you can see, the instantaneous current consumption varies a lot during the test, but we can focus on the total energy consumed in milliwatt hours and then divide by the time and the voltage to get the average current consumption over the minute. And now you can see why I've been so clear about my test methodology, because I don't find any improvement in efficiency with the GT2 at all. Regardless of the supply voltage or channel setting, at 2000 milliwatts over 1 minute, the GT2 consumed slightly more electrical power than the original GT and actually outputted slightly less RF power. So by any sensible measure, its efficiency is slightly worse. Let's go back to the original claim and figure out what went wrong. Well, it's clear. The original Caddx GT just doesn't consume anywhere near 24 watts. On its maximum RF output, depending on channel, it consumes between 12 and maybe 15 watts. And the new GT2 consumes anywhere from 13 to 16 watts. So they're very, very similar in terms of power consumption. And given that there's always some variation VTX to VTX, I would be pretty confident in saying that the efficiency of these two VTXs is essentially the same. Does this mean that you shouldn't buy the new GT2? Not at all. In fact, I think that the claimed efficiency improvement is a lot less important than the other quality of life improvements that Caddx have brought to this design. I really like the better build quality and the larger, more effective cooling fan, and having the USB-C port to pull video files and the MMCX connectors are really nice for ease of use. And if you are someone who likes to use the Caddx GM gimbals, having the direct control from the VTX to the gimbal is a really nice touch. And it's good that you don't have to go through the flight controller. If you'd like to pick up a GT2 to try for yourself, there are links down in the video description to where you can get yours today. There's also a link to my Patreon where you can support the channel and get all of the raw data from my VTX power output testing. That's all I have for you for today. So until next time, I wish you all very, very happy flying.